Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you this special bulletin. Assassin's Creed Shadows has been, well, I guess not teased, not released, but the trailer has come out, and a lot of people all across the interweb and gaming have something to say about it. And I figured, you know what? I try not to run my mouth too quickly on anything. I would say I let the waters calm, but there's no calming the waters on this one. I like to see everyone put their points out, see what point of views there are, get my own opinion, and go, this is a rather interesting topic of discussion. One of the main ones coming across, of course, is, well, Yasuke. Yasuke being a samurai of particular ethnic origin, and how historically accurate it is. And I guess the actual character of Yasuke he was not a samurai. He was a retainer. He was this, he was that. Historical documents, what few there are, saying that he was more of an anomaly, what we would call a sideshow in Japan, because he had rather dark skin. And my first thought is, you're asking for historical accuracy in a video game where you go dream skipping across your ancestors' experiences with a futuristic machine. Okay. I mean, call me silly, but maybe that's not the greatest hill to die on. One of the other complaints is the lack of Japanese representation. It's like, well, no, the female character, she's Japanese. And it's like, oh, we're going to change our minds to the male Japanese representation. I got a couple of ideas and a couple of videos. One I want to get into, Kaida over here, who has an opinion and who's obviously racist. But let's go ahead, let's take a listen to what he has to say himself. It's only about 2.5 minutes, and a couple of points he makes that I do see where he's coming from, but I'm not going to twist his words. So
we got our first look at the new Assassin's Creed game, and I gotta say, man, I'm not impressed. I'm actually just really annoyed.
Kaida, I do hope you don't mind. Go ahead and follow this gentleman if you so choose to. Go see what Khalil Too Short. There's no such thing as too short if you're tall enough to reach the anyway, I'm going to move on. Sorry.
Wait, right now. We have two main protagonists, one female, one male, just like Odyssey.
Just like Odyssey, so no change from one game to another, right? Okay.
We're going to be using Neo. I hope I said that right. A female
We're all going to pronounce it wrong until they say what it is.
And for the male character, they're going to be using Yasuke.
Now, Naoi, I'm going to butcher that one. Female Japanese character. So we have Japanese representation in a video game that takes place in Japan. Cool, good. There's a lot of opinions about Yasuke. Lots and lots. And, well, let's keep going.
Now, I'm annoyed because they're using Yasuke, and I'm going to tell you why. Yasuke is what they want to say is the first black Japanese samurai, when in all actuality, he was not even a samurai. He was a retainer, so he wasn't even a full-blown samurai.
Now, what I'm going to say to this argument, he wasn't even a full-blown samurai. Dramatization. Video games, TV shows, movies have been, anytime they take any little snippet of actual events in history, it's always, dramatized, sometimes overly dramatized. So, and I'm going to ruffle some feathers here. Why does it matter now? I understand why it matters. There's a lot of things going on, especially in the gaming industry right now with SBI and diversity, equity, I'm sorry. I got that wrong. Diversion. Yeah, it's a diversion, all right. I think all of this nonsense is a diversion. Well, I'm going to get to it at the end, because holy shit, Ubisoft has to Ubisoft. Diversity, inclusion, and equity. They're looking for points. They're looking for those check boxes. But are they really? Because I have another point of view to come across that. It's like, well, that's a very interesting one. But let's go ahead and finish this one real quick.
And for all of the characters they could have used for Japan, all these kind of different people they could have picked from, they picked Yasuke. Why do they pick Yasuke?
Now, why is this such a big deal, I wonder? Why is this such a deal? Kaida puts, he does have a good point, which is why I have featured him in the video. I hope he doesn't mind.
Because he's black.
Oh my goodness. That's a racist thing to say. Oh, wait. Oh, hold on. Wait, never mind.
So in context, that doesn't matter to me. Because in all the Assassin's Creed games, every single character has been of some kind of different race and nationality. So that doesn't matter to me. That's fine.
But what does matter?
Understand what day and
What does matter? Well, yes, you do have to matter what day and age we live in. You always have to check a box. At least that is what a lot of members of the customer base is starting to see over and over and over again. So continuously calling any sort of criticism over story choice, game choice, or character choice. Every single criticism that we have towards these games, towards these protagonists, towards these storylines, you would get labeled an istophobe, and it's getting kind of tiresome. So having this sort of knee-jerk reaction that, why is Yasuke the main character? Oh, you just don't like black people. No, the game is set in Japan. Okay? The game is set in Japan. Okay? And he wasn't technically a samurai. Oh, you just don't want to see a black... No. But of course, there's apparently a lot of shenanigans going on with the Wikipedia history for the show, but that's a whole nother thing. That's for people to debate on editing of Wikipedia, why you would consider Wikipedia a reliable source of information when the only thing you should be doing is looking at their resources and going from there. Don't use Wikipedia as it's not reliable. It's edited by the public. But let's keep going.
Adrian, you have to understand the kind of social shit that they want to try to get across in these video games now. So instead of using a Japanese man in a game based in Japan, like they did with the other Assassin's Creed.
Now, this is a very important point that he makes. Every single Assassin's Creed game before this has tried to use, has used an ethnicity based in the area that it takes place. Now, before you go in, nobody has a problem with Tom Cruise as the last samurai. We're not talking about a movie. We're talking about the Assassin's Creed franchise, correct? Put out by Ubisoft. Keep your context in your context. We're in a video game. Well, Neo was okay, but we're talking about Assassin's Creed. We kind of narrow it down to what the developers themselves are doing. We're not going to look at different developers. We're not going to look at different games. We're going to pay attention to Assassin's Creed and what Ubisoft has done in previous iterations of Assassin's Creed. Let's kind of continue.
Altair, he was an Arab, obviously. One of my favorites.
Hold on, I don't think you can say Arab, but I'm going to let him say it again.
Assassin's Creed games. Altair, he was an Arab, obviously. One of my favorites, Connor, in Assassin's Creed 3, he was Native American. That was fine. And the most famous of them all, Ezio Auditore, who was Italian. So why in all those games would you have a character representative of the region they're from? But in this game, you want to demote a Japanese man and then use Yasuke. I understand why. We know why. But they're not going to tell you why. Because if you call it out, you're some kind of ist or phobe or whatever. And since I'm black...
He's not wrong.
And I'm calling it out, that means that I must hate my skin or something. You know how they do. I just see this and my immediate thought is... they did this for brownie points. I can't think of any other reason why you would have a Assassin's Creed game based in Japan... which we've been clamoring for since the beginning of Assassin's Creed, and then have the main protagonist that is a male be black. I see that and I'm like, there's no other reason than I want claps for.
No other reason besides checkbox, checkbox, checkbox. You have a good bit of demographic of the gaming community seeing this in the culture war and agreeing with Kato right now. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm terrible. However, there are other opinions. Atreus went and posted this. Go follow him as well. He's wonderful. He's another he's another black man that hates himself. If you know, you know. Counter argument about Assassin's Creed, Shadows, and Yasuke that I actually love. What y'all think? Now, this is a different opinion. Pay attention and listen. Mandrews6282, looks like it's over on YouTube. I hate all the pandering woke shit as well, but to play devil's advocate, my man, I love it. I have a tendency to do that too. It's quite involuntary. I think Ubisoft had to do something to stand out against Ghost of Tsushima and The Last Ronin. I believe that's what he's saying there. Since they are late to the party on this one. This is not a race swapping. Correct. They did not take a main character and race swap them. They took a character, a historical character that actually existed, regardless of whether or not you want to argue he wasn't a samurai. Yes, he was. He was a retainer. What's a retainer? Well, they're viewed as samurai. Some samurai are retainers. Well, he was this, he was that. Well, we don't need to argue. We can argue about that all day long till we're blue in the face. But I think they get a point for not actually race swapping a main character from history. Kudos to them. They're not filling the protagonist role with a random black guy. Yasuke actually exists. This is an intriguing historical figure, and the, quote, fish out of water aesthetic and the challenges he likely faced could add an additional layer of the storytelling. Now that I'm going to 100% agree on, because the argument that you have a black man in Japan who, in the Assassin's Creed genre, IP of games, you have to hide in plain sight. Okay, how are you going to do that? I do agree with the part of the laughability of that idea, but hey, you know what? Anything can happen. Can Ubisoft pull this one out of their ass? Maybe, maybe not, but we're going to go ahead and condemn the games before they come out because, hey, we like to talk about things, and that's what we do with trailers. The trailer is supposed to get people to interest. It's supposed to pique people's interest in the game. It's supposed to get people talking, and boy, has Ubisoft succeeded on this one. Let's continue. Something Ubisoft generally lacks. Yeah, we'll see how they handle this one. Even Netflix ran a series on Yasuke recently, so there is some interest in that person. There's the fish out of water has always been an interesting story to see how they handle it, if it's handled well. Back to the quote. This is really the only way they could stand out against the others without having some even crazier shit in there. I get it. People are sick of the woke nonsense and pandering, but I think we need to see more on this one. I agree. Is the story woke? There's no indication one way or another what the story's going to be. Is it preachy and pandering? Don't know yet. We don't know. We don't really know. In a vacuum, I don't see Yasuke getting his own game a bad thing on its face. And it could just be getting lost in the usual anti-woke outrage. It's getting lost in the woke versus anti-woke outrage. Yes, definitely. There is definitely one thing that's getting lost. Black character doesn't equal woke. And that's a problem I'm seeing so often. There is a section of the groups in the woke culture war, that they immediately see black character and they go, oh, it's woke. Stop doing that. Oh, black female character, it's woke. Oh God, it's woke. Female protagonist, oh my God, it's woke. Oh, it's gonna be crap. Stop doing that. You make your entire movement look like like shit. Black character doesn't equal woke every single time, and there could be an interesting story here. And to anyone claiming Asheron's Call is a historically accurate series, like I said earlier in the video, this game series, this video game IP is about time traveling through the memories of your ancestors. Okie dokie. We have pieces of Eden, assassins, superpowers, Norse gods walking around, mythical creatures, monsters connecting to ancestral memories through a science fiction machine, and even the actual historical figures we've been... Where did I go? We've seen in game are cartoon caricatures at most, and completely unlike how they were in real life at the very least. So the argument I keep hearing that Asheron's Call is the bastion of realistic history is reaching pretty hard. Stop doing that, guys. Stop arguing the historical accuracy of this game. That is not the hill to die on. I'm sorry, it isn't. You're making this side of the culture war look rather foolish to be pointed and laughed at. Now, if the game is full of ideological tropes and preachy nonsense, we can talk after that. Absolutely. But simply having Yasuke as a samurai in there, it's a dramatization in a video game that dramatizes the ever-loving hell out of history. Black guy doesn't necessarily mean woke here, yet. That's an important thing. Doesn't mean that yet. Wait and see the game. Wait till more information comes out. And I have seen something going around that is rather... another red flag. That apparently the lead writer, pronouns in her bio, feminist, leftist, uber liberal, and associated with sweet baby stench. So yes, that is an absolute yet another red flag. But again, we'll see more when it comes out. Like I tell everyone, hold on to your wallets. Keep them closed. Do not pre-order, which gets us to the number one thing. Thank you for making it this far. I know it's been 14 minutes. It's a long, lovely video, but my God, what on God's green earth is this shit again? This is the hill to die on. This is what should be talked about. Yasuke and all the discussion behind that is just kind of making people, I don't know, what's the word? Ignore the price points of this goddamn game. $69.99. Okay, cool. It's a AAA game from Ubisoft. It's got to be modern $70 prices. You have your own opinion on that. But we have multiple editions yet again. $110, $130. And the Ultimate Edition. What? Day one with Ubisoft Plus. I couldn't care less about that. You know, you can get that as an extra little bundle with one of the PlayStation Plus bundles. But my God. Base game, pre-order bonus. Do not pre-order this game. Do not pre-order this game. One more time for those in the back. Do not pre-order this game. Stop pre-ordering these games. Do whatever we can, do everything possible to get these companies to stop milking every single person out there for these extra little stuff. Season Pass, 3 days early access. This is a fucking single player game. Stop making this normal. My goodness. 3 days early access. Why? Why do you need 3 days early access? What is the purpose of that? Why do you need... It's a single player game. Single player game. For $110, for $130. Base game, pre-order bonus. Do not pre-order. Season Pass. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to be nice. No, I'm not. Eat a dick with the Season Pass on a single player game. Stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it. Oh, but it's going to have this cosmetic and that cosmetic and this going to look pretty. It's a single player game. You're going to look different in a single player game. Playing by yourself, with yourself. Single player game. 3 days early access. Wait for this to go on sale. Go find a key. Ultimate Pack? What's the Ultimate Pack? I don't even think I care or want to know. 3 days early access. This is the absolute most ridiculous thing. Companies like Ubisoft, I mean, shouldn't be surprised. They're doing it with Star Wars Outlaws. Do not pre-order that game as well. All these multiple editions that make you look nice and shiny and pretty in a single player game. And more than likely, it will require you to be online just in order to play it. The likelihood of there being, not couch co-op, online co-op missions, hey, that's a possibility, but you shouldn't have to be online at all times for a single player game. I see that coming. Mark my words. It will happen. This is what to be arguing about. This is what we should be fighting over. Not whether or not Yasuke is a samurai. It's a video game. It's a dramatization. It might, I mean, it's Ubisoft. It might actually be good. It might not be filled with a laundry list of predatory microtransactions or one microtransaction after another, after another, after another. That's simply, oh, it's just there for convenience. You don't have to buy it just because we're going to throttle you halfway through the game. As far as progression goes, don't pay attention to those little XP boosters that are in the store, in the Ubisoft store, in the Assassin's Creed store. Those don't mean anything. You don't need those, which is probably what this fucking Ultimate Pack is right here. Adding that to the game and maybe selling that on the side. If you just bought the $70 version, oh, you're going to need the Ultimate Pack for $50 because it just has one-time use items. I heard all this nonsense with another game that I can't seem to remember. Anyway, pick the correct hill to die on. Pick the right hill to die on. And right now, the hill to die on is the predatory monetization of one game after another, trying to milk and just pull every last cent out of every single gamer out there. Inflation be damned. $70 game, that's not really that bad. It's an extra $10 than they were before this inflation nonsense. And you'll have other people argue that, oh, video games are cheaper than they've ever been if you count inflation. I don't care. I don't care. You know what? Video games may be cheaper, but they're also exponentially more shite. Pick the right hill. Pay attention to what the other hand is doing. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Leave a like, leave a dislike, and do all those nifty little things that YouTube is making you do. And I hope to see you on the next one. Bye-bye.